Voices of CFMA, Construction Financial Management Association's podcast featuring stories of industry leaders, sponsored by Profix. I'm your host, Kate Platt, CFMA's marketing manager. This week, I'm joined by Stephanie Magenau. She is a certified construction industry financial professional from Grand Forks, North Dakota, where she is a controller for construction engineers. Stephanie is very active within CFMA and is part of the executive committee, a CCIFP chapter champion, co-chair for the Emerging Leaders Program, chapter treasurer, and founding member of the North Dakota chapter. Thanks for joining me, Stephanie. You are very busy.
That is true, but I enjoy it.
So I just want to jump right into this and say, how did you get into construction finance?
Kind of an interesting story. I was a senior in college and I thought I had a plan for where I was headed. I was finishing up a major in accounting, had a couple of minors in psychology and criminal justice, of all things. My plan was to move away from here about 100 miles to a small town where my husband was already established and had a job. I was looking for a job close to where he was, of course. I was pretty sure I didn't want to go into public accounting, and there were no opening positions for accountants at the time in that area. So my plan was to use my minors and become a border patrol agent. We're very close to the Canadian border, so that seemed to make sense.
Wow. Okay.
The day before the applications opened for the border patrol training program, I was approached by one of my accounting professors, and she told me that construction engineers here in Grand Forks was hiring an accountant. After discussing it with my husband, I applied for the job, was offered the job, and here I am nearly 20 years later, still here.
Wow, 20 years, one place. Congratulations. That's an impressive feat.
Yeah, really exciting.
So 20 years with the same company. What brought you to CFMA?
It started back in the fall of 2009. I Googled construction accounting associations. We have a small accounting department here at Construction Engineers, and I was looking for like-minded people who spoke my language and that I could learn from and network with. I found CFMA in that search and became a member. The next summer, I lucked out and the conference was in Hawaii. So that was my first taste of CFMA's people and culture. In the summer of 2012, I received a letter from the president of the Siouxland chapter in South Dakota inviting me to join an introductory meeting about CFMA that they were going to hold in Fargo, North Dakota. There were representatives there from CFMA headquarters and a couple dozen people locally that were interested in forming a chapter. Before we left the meeting, we had a list of officers in place, and we had already started the process of chapter formation. And this fall, we are celebrating our 10-year anniversary.
Wow, that is a quick and efficient chapter formation there. I'm really glad you guys got that started 10 years ago.
Yes, obviously we're very excited to get things going.
Don't blame you. That's quite the drive if you're not going to your chapter.
Right.
Just thinking like, wow, that's a far drive. So you're very involved with CFMA. You're co-chair of the Emerging Leaders Program. Can you talk to the importance about leadership development and, the role CFMA has played in it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe that no matter where you're at in your career, if you're leading a group for the first time, or if you've been leading a team for years, there's always room for self-reflection and improvement to help you be more approachable and be a more supportive leader. The best leaders encourage collaboration and cohesiveness in their teams, and some of these skills come naturally, but others need to be learned and improved upon. I started in CFMA leadership as the secretary of our chapter. I worked my way up to the vice president and then the president role. I was given the opportunity then to attend Spring Creek in 2014, which was probably my first formal training in leadership and team building. From there, I was invited to join the CFMA mentoring program, where I was mentored by the late, great Lisa Vandergrip. And Lisa is the person that encouraged me to earn my CCIFP credential in 2015. Through those experiences and the many CFMA conferences I've attended, I could see that there was a place for me within CFMA's national leadership as well. So I started out volunteering with the Chapter Resources Committee and eventually became the chair. While I was in that role, I had the opportunity to lead the chapter summit at the national conference several years in a row. And that event was a great way for me to help other chapters succeed, as well as take away ideas that could strengthen my own chapter. From there, I was invited to join the finance committee and investment subcommittees at the national level, and this gave me a better picture of the initiatives going on at CFMA and where I could be of help. Last year, I was invited to join the CFMA executive committee and to serve as the co-chair of the newly formed Emerging Leaders program. We spent many months building that program, and in 2021, I became a participant in the inaugural cohort.
Profix software centralizes all your financial data, including ERP, CRM, HR, estimating, and project management for a complete view of company performance. Contact Profix to learn how we can help better manage your project's cash forecasting, WIP reporting, margin fade, and equipment utilization.
Oh, wow. That's quite the journey to everything.
Yes.
You're really taking advantage of everything CFMA has to offer in terms of, growing that leadership. And interesting that you bring up, not only have you done this, but you've done the mentoring program, you've done Spring Creek, and really took advantage of all these leadership opportunities.
Yes, absolutely.
So can you tell me, how does Emerging Leaders set itself apart? How does it define itself as it trains the next generation?
The Emerging Leaders program promotes the idea of being inwardly sound and others focused. It's comprised of approximately 20 participants from all over the country. And through a series of in-person and virtual meetings, we've gotten to really know ourselves and each other much deeper. We've ended up forming a close-knit group of people who want to improve our leadership skills and just be better people. The program offers content focused on vision, purpose, values, culture, emotional maturity, cultivating talent, executive presence, and many other important leadership topics. We just finished our final virtual session of the program, and we're looking forward to meeting in person during the Emerging Leaders Social at the conference in May, which is open to all attendees to stop by and learn more about the program. Then in June, we meet in person one last time to wrap up the program.
So are you looking forward to meeting up with everyone at the conference in a few weeks?
We are. We're super excited to see each other. A really cool story. On the very first evening that we all met in Denver last year, several of us were just hanging out after dinner, getting to know each other better, and someone asked, how do we keep this group together after this program ends? And I thought it was just really cool that we were already worried about separating after spending just a few days, or just a day or two together. We intend to continue meeting virtually after the program closes. And the Emerging Leaders Task Force right now is brainstorming ways to keep that group together so we can continue the connection and accountability we've created and continue to improve as leaders in our companies.
Oh, that's amazing to have that level of commitment and accountability and the resources from this group.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, that's amazing that you guys get to carry this on beyond just your cohort.
Yes, and we're super excited. The new program has just kicked off. Applications are open, and the new program will start in September. So we're already really excited to welcome that new group.
Great. So before I let you go here, this podcast is really all about getting and giving advice. So I have to ask you, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I would have to say several years ago, I was at a health and wellness conference, about maybe 14 years ago. And the keynote speaker, and I apologize if I say his name wrong, but I think it's Eric Weihenmayer. But anyway, he's the first blind man to scale Mount Everest, and he was the keynote. And his closing remarks included these thoughts. Everything you need to succeed is either in front of you or within you. And what's in you is stronger than what's in your way. So anytime that I'm experiencing self-doubt, I just refer back to that quote, and I just muster up the confidence to move forward.
That's really impressive advice, and
yes,
something I can see being handy climbing Everest with or without sight.
Absolutely.
What an undertaking.
Yes, he was an amazing speaker.
What piece of advice do you have for someone new to the industry?
I think it's got to be just to get involved in your local CFMA chapter. The education is top notch. The people we meet become lifelong friends, and it just provides an amazing network that you can turn to when you have questions. And when they ask you to volunteer within the chapter, which they will, do it. You will get so much more back than you could ever give. It's not just one more thing on your plate. It's actually a true investment in your career and your personal growth.
You never know where that yes, I'll volunteer will land you. Who knows? I may be interviewing you for a podcast in a few months. So anything can happen.
Yes.
Well, Stephanie, I appreciate you joining me to have this conversation about leadership and what CFMA did for your career. I hope everyone is having a lovely time at the CFMA conference. This is being released, I want to say maybe a week before. So hopefully everyone is having a lovely time in Atlanta. Thanks for listening. If you're looking to learn more about CFMA's Emerging Leaders program, check out cfma.org/emerging leaders. And if you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe and share on social media. If you're interested in learning more about the Construction Financial Management Association, check out cfma.org. Don't forget to tune in next month for the next episode of Voices of CFMA, sponsored by Profix.